In a small country town in the north of England came a young man with a desire to change and a desire to experience culture from a different perspective. Hi, my name is Joel Roberts, and I had the pleasure of interviewing my grandfather, Peter Bowden, about his experience in packing up life in Askin, England with his wife and heading to Australia at the young age of 21 to begin life in the mining industry. My grandfather made it clear that his desire and intention for starting a new life in Australia at such a young age was simply for a change of scenery, a desire to explore something new. Yes, he realised that it was becoming a normality for people of Great Britain to make the switch to Australian culture, but Peter in actuality found Australia, as he described, as a more comfortable version of England. Well, what about the different Australian culture? What was different when you arrived? Well, the weather was better. The beaches were fantastic. The people had similar mannerisms and traditions, he would say, as those back at home in England. If Peter was honest, he enjoyed the Australian culture because it reminded him of home. At least it did originally. My grandfather told me of a time about 10 years into his residence in Australia where he was confronted with a situation in outback Australia where he realised the negative significance of traditional British culture in Australia. You see, after a couple of beers in the local pub, my grandfather and his fellow British colleague decided to head back to the hotel. And as they left, they were asked by a lift by two local Aboriginal men down the street. Without hesitation, they let the men in and proceeded to be assaulted and robbed. For years after the attack, my grandfather held strong prejudice towards the traditional custodians of the land, feeling like he was targeted because of his culture and didn't want to be a part of the Australian culture because of it. My grandfather segregated himself for many years, desiring and clinging to the British culture he was accustomed to instead. However, as Peter explained it, the world developed and we became far more educated, and the truth became known to him. The truth that during the time of his attack, the Indigenous Australians were actually the victims, their culture being belittled. They experienced horrors like none that he'd experienced. He said he felt remorseful for his prejudice and thankful for the opportunity to live in Australia comfortably. He now says he likes to spend his time at the local pub near his suburban Australian home, engaging in some banter about the footy, enjoying a traditional Aussie burger, and as he put it, ultimately paying his respects to those whose land his best life was lived on. And after spending some time chatting to a member of the community that had experienced changing cultures and changing views on culture, a couple of things became clear to me. One, that respect is a huge aspect of Australian culture, and despite our differences as individuals, respect is always desired. Main and Howard stress in 2015 and highlight the importance of feeling valued and respected in a particular community. 2. Educating individuals, especially those of a different cultural heritage, will result in this desired respect being reciprocated and appreciated in a society today. And as Hapgood discusses in 2017, this concept has seen major improvements, yet still requiring a deeper focus in education today. And finally, 3, we are a unique nation, and as Fraser in 2011 put it, a growing nation with ample opportunity and a country which is very attractive from those overseas, and overall, our history displays the testament of how far we have developed as a nation, at least in regards to the respect of culture. Thank you.